Good morning, family. Just a quick video to make you aware of something. There's a lot of stuff going on, and there are a lot of things going on that don't matter. So when everybody's spending so much time bloviating over Trump and Vance having a temper tantrum with President Zelensky, that doesn't really affect us much. And Europe and other countries in the world, Australia, Canada, etc., are stepping up to make sure that Ukraine is covered. But let me tell you something that does pertain to our lives here in the United States. There's a bill that was proposed last year in Congress. It failed. It's being proposed again this year, called the SAVE Act. That's a misnomer right there. But anyway, Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act is proposed by a member of Congress from Texas, and that's a Republican member of Congress from Texas, and right there, that should let you know it's probably not a good idea. But the idea is, according to what they're saying, that there are millions of illegals in the country, and so how do we know that they're not voting and compromising our ballots and that kind of thing? Okay, so let's look at Georgia. You know, the state where they had like an electron microscope focusing on Georgia after the last election, claiming fraud, and somebody fined me 11,700 votes and all that foolishness. So in 2024, after they did a vigorous audit of registered voters in the state of Georgia, they found only 20 non-citizens out of over 7.8 million, I believe, registered voters in the state. So that is a percentage of 0.00024. So, oh my God, illegals, 20 of them were found to have been registered out of over 8.4 million voters. But here's the negative effect. What this bill requires is that everybody who goes to vote be able to produce some sort of identification, which seems innocuous enough until you find out that there is pretty much a tax, a fee required for all of these different types of certification of ID. So for instance, driver's license. What if you don't drive? Passport. Out of 341 million Americans, 146 million, more than half, do not have a passport. And so that creates a problem, as one person referred to it as a new poll tax. Poll taxes, of course, were used to keep black voters from being able to vote in the South during the Jim Crow era. And now we're going to do the whole Jim Crow era thing for the whole country. How is this progress? How is this helpful? But again, understand what we're saying here, that more than half of the country doesn't have a passport. If you're too old, you don't drive anymore, or if you never drove, like my mother, who's not 101 now, but mom never drove, never had a driver's license. So these people will have to either produce a birth certificate or find some other type of citizenship for a country that they were born in. And all of this to try and provide more voter security, when the voter security guru in the last Trump administration called the 2020 election the most secure election in U.S. history. But you know, if you tell a lie long enough people will believe it, and then whatever is actually true no longer matters. And the lie that they tell over and over and over again, folks, if their lips are moving, they're lying. The lie that they're telling is that, the voting is unsecure and stuff is going to be hacked and it was fraud. And the real interesting thing is that the people who are saying hacked and fraud are the same people who are hacking elections, like this last one with the voting machines in the background states, battleground states. I'm not going to get into that now, etc. So be careful with the occupant, because y'all know whatever he accuses somebody else of is stuff he's done himself or is doing himself. So they want to say stuff that's hacked and illegal. We're not the ones they should be concerned about. They're the ones doing it. So just understand, when you hear about the SAVE Act and it's going to make our voting more secure, that's a bunch of bull. They're trying to narrow the number of people who can vote. And guess who will be affected potentially the most by this? Women who, because of marriage, their names now do not match the names on their birth certificates. Tens of millions of women will be potentially affected by this. But then there's one little corner of a group of the people that support Project 2025 and all of this nonsense being forced on us. They don't want women to vote anymore anyway. They just want the men to vote. What does that sound like to you? I don't know. 1787, when the Constitutional Convention was going on, and only property-owning white men could vote. So even poor white men couldn't vote, and women couldn't vote. Really? They're trying to turn back the clock. So I just want you to be aware when you hear about the SAVE Act, and it's allegedly for voter protection and voter integrity, it's nonsense. They're trying to narrow down the number of people who are eligible to vote so that it makes it easier for them to steal and to win, so they can continue to destroy our constitutional republic like they are right now. Be aware of it. Call your member of Congress and Senate and tell them don't even think about voting for this nonsense. I'll get back at you with more later. Over and out.